Shambho Mahadev Mahadev. So the 11th shloka. Today we are on the 100th session of this Virat. We have finished 99, this is the 100th. So we were halfway in the shloka of hetu bhalashraya lambanaihi samgrihitatvad dosham bhavo tadbhavaha. Desires are held together by cause, effect, support and objects. When these disappear, so do the desires, is what we said. So we described about how the cause can create the desires. If there is a cause, from there multiple desires have been, we will generate that. Automatically the mind generates it. And the indriyas are so fickle that when it is doing something or when it is on attendance of something, suddenly something else happens, immediately its attention is totally diverted to that. Mind also goes along with that. Suppose you are listening to something, suddenly there is a noise, your attention will be immediately diverted to that noise instead of whatever is important that what you are listening. Same way mind also, if it is on something, suddenly something else happens, it gets attracted very easily. There is no sthita prajna because because of the lack of practice. This uncertainty of the indriyas and mind are the major problem in our attaining what we really desire, and also to know what we really need. Most of the desires are that which are not necessary for us. Okay, there are so many things which are necessary for our mind and sharira during our material life. So many needs are there. So many necessities are there. So many needs are there. We cannot deny that. The limitations of that are not understood by the mind and indriyas. They get multiplied for most of the unwanted desires. Once we analyze in our life, we will find 90% of our desires and fulfillment we have wanted to acquire was only absolute negligible, in the sense they are not absolutely necessary for our living. Even though we cannot avoid things in our material world, everybody is in the material world only because that we are supposed to execute karmas. Since we have to execute karmas, we have to have a mind and sharira. It is inexplainable. We have to have a mind and sharira through which only we can fulfill the karmas and exhaust the karmas. Then what is to be done? Then what we call it as spirituality or spiritualism. As I told you in beginning also, in the beginning of sessions, number of years, we have been talking on that. Everything is spirituality. Everything is spiritualism. That we call as materialism, there is nothing called materialism. When we go deeper into understanding of the Vedanta and the Veda, there is nothing called it, there is no deviation of anything from spiritualism. What we call as materialism is only for a purpose to understand things more discreetly, for a person who has not been experiencing what is spirituality and how to basically understand the divisions of minute divisions of the process of life and living. When we have to understand the process of life, what is life? Then life is spirituality. Living is materialism. I see. Because in living, we require so many things. Because it's an act which has to be done. It's a karma that has to be executed. Yes? So the life is spiritualism and the living, I just divided it only for purpose of making you to understand purpose. Life and living becomes one at one point again. There won't be any separation between life and living. But when we are dividing spiritualism and materialism into two parts, I would represent them as life and living, that's all. As I told you, materialism is not there, it's everything is spiritualism. The same way, at a point of time, there is nothing called living, it's all life only. Living is an act because it is an execution of karma. In order to execute, we have to have mind and the indriyas. We have to have emotions, we have to have experiences, we have to have the act of renunciation. And when the same living have learned and starts living through renunciation, that becomes a true life. Yes. Till you have not been learning the renunciation, you are only executing karmas and accruing the karma phalas. That's called living. That's why it is living. Living in the sense it's a continuous process. Living is a constant and continuous process, not 100 years. It can be number of 100 years, number of janmas. That's why it is living. It's in the present tense. Living. It's always in the present tense, living. Whether in this janma living, next janma living, another janma living, previous janma living, everything living. Life is one only. Right? Life is only one. So in order to attain that one, the life, the living is necessary, or living has been introduced for people to exhaust their karmas of previous life karma phalas, to exhaust the previous karma phalas and execute the karmas this janma for the purpose of renunciation, learning the renunciation, understanding the truth of the self, understanding the truth of reality. Then only we will be identifying the life which is known as the life or the soul or the Atma or the Paramatma or the Purusha. We start understanding. That's life. Till then, it is living only. So in the process of living, what happens there is cause. There is a cause behind it. What is the cause behind our life and living here in this janma or any number of janmas is because of the previous desires and attachment and afflictions, attractions. The effect is based on that, based on those causes. So, even though there is a cause, now what we are explaining is that the desires are bound by these. If they are not there, the desires would not be there. So the cause of the creation of the desire is the cause, effect, support and the object. So the cause we explained, the cause, how the cause comes. Once we have, everything is satisfactory to us and we have already attained that what we desired. The mind looks for some, we get saturated in that. We call it as fed up or we get used to it or things like that. Even though it is the best one that is available, that what you get, you will still look for something else. As I told you, when man got everything in the earth, then he started thinking that how can I fly in the sky? First he started flying with the equipments. Then he said, why should I need a machine for flying? Why not I fly myself? Things like that. It keeps on multiplying. Why? Because this cause, the effect, that's the desire causing from the effect. One is desires causing from the cause, we explained. Now the desires projecting from the effect. So whatever we are doing, from there the desires are coming. Why not we modify this? Why not we do it like this? Why not we do like that? And in the process of the execution of karmas, in the process of the effect of that cause, for whatever cause we are doing something, for whatever cause whatever karma phalas we may be executing a karma now, while executing this karma, what happens? Not only that it should be only for the purpose of exhausting anything. It's for the any karma that we are doing should be for the purpose of exhausting it. But what happens in the process? During the process, even though we might be exhausting the karmas, that's what we are supposed to do, while executing, we get attracted and attached to certain other things in the world. And then we create further karma phalas, and that causes because that again create a cause. That creates a cause, and from that cause again the desires are started. You see how it is vicious circle. That's why he said about the cause and effect. Karya, karana. Even in karana also there are desires. More kama is there. In karya, when we are doing a karya, then also kama is there. So execution of karmas are very important because cause I could not avoid in the beginning. Yes. While executing an effect or karma, we have to be careful not to create another cause, so that it doesn't come like that. That is the purpose of the true form of living, the dharmic way of living, disciplined way of living, all those words we have explained. The explanation of that is this, that while we are executing an effect of a cause, further cause should not be created in that effect. That means while we are executing a karma, in order to exhaust the karma phalas and take the path of renunciation, we should not get again attracted and attached to the objects, and then we lead ourselves to the desires through the cause again, through another cause. Number of causes, number of desires, number of effects. This keeps multiplying, and we are unable to come out of this circle because we keep traveling one after another, you see, from the cause to the effect, and from the cause and the desires, and from the cause and the effect, from the effect and the desires, and from effect and the cause. That's all. We are unable to go beyond that. We are stuck there only, in the cause and effect, karya, karana, and that's it. Number of janmas we end up with only doing karya, karana, that's all. We never look for a support. Now, support is also another reason for creating desires. But then we should come out of this and then look for support. In the support, what are the supports? We think again. The object what we are seeing is the ones that will support me in executing my karmas. So we depend on that. So dependence on the object, dependence on various things. Many think that by learning all the shastras, by reading all the books, by educating oneself in the universities, by educating oneself in the best spiritual institutions, let us call it like that, not only materialism, in the spiritual institutions. One have by-hearted all the Vedas and Shastras and all those things, the support on that. He thought that this will lead me towards the, whatever it is. But what happened during the process of attaining all this also, even during the process of attaining, as well as the one who has attained all the knowledge, then also he became an ahankari because he has got karma out of that. He has created so many desires out of walking through the spirituality. He has to attain this, he has to attain that, he has to do this, he has to do that, he has to attain the God, he has to see the God, he has, whatever it is. No? Like I'm just telling you examples, just to make it simplify it. Even in that spiritual, highest form of spirituality, what he thinks that by learning everything, there also that support. He wanted a support for his. He thought that if he gets a support out of that, he will be in a position to attain what he wants. Support. Support is not only, as I told you, everything. If you read a book, you think that you can attain something out of it. What you attain, is it useful for you or not? Many of them are, all the books, all the fictions or all the other things or all the descriptions that has been given, except for the Vedas as it is and the Upanishads, which has been interpreted by somebody, some individual. If somebody who has, like I am explaining something out of many things based on this, but it is of various other things. I depend on that, you see. With what I know, I depend on that. Through what is right or wrong, I do not know, but I depend on that. Because I depend on that, through that, whatever I experience, I am explaining it. Now what happens? Even though that is okay, correct or wrong, whatever it is, my dependency continues on that. The day when I stop having dependency of that, then is the reality. That's the truth. That's why Viveka Chudamani said at one point of time, at the end of the session, at the end of the book, you will read in Viveka Chudamani at 365 or some sloka, if I don't, somewhere there, after 300 sloka, it has been explained that even after learning everything that is absolutely perfect according to Vedanta and Veda and spirituality, you must have absolutely when you screen, when you really filter through a muslin, you gain even the finest particles have been screened out of that, and only the rasa has come out. But then the last rung of the ladder, he said, even at that point of time, the rasa, that what you have taken out of it, that also has to be renounced. Then only you can attain the Brahman, he said. This is the result. You see, imagine. So that means all that whatever we have to attain, but that cannot be done in the beginning stage. It's not possible. For taking the rasa, we will have to use so many things. First of all, we have to grow that grain or we have to grow that fruit. Then we have to grind it, then we have to wet it, we have to mix with the water, then we have to filter it through bigger screens, then we have to filter it through minor number of screens, one after another. Then we have to go to the finer screen, then we gain the rasa. That rasa also, after taking all that what he said, that also is not necessary. But that has been necessary, then why did you make me do all that? Because you should know how you can attain. So all that whatever is you have seen, all this whatever you have seen from the beginning to here, none of them are necessary. If you call it what is necessary for upgrading you towards the Brahman and Brahmatattvam, Brahmajnani, that is the rasa. That's the rasa, that is what is necessary. So in order to make you understand what is rasa, how can you understand? Can you understand the rasa by looking at an object, a fruit? Can you understand? No. There are thousands. That process has to be learned. The process has to be executed. Process has to be experienced. Then you identify what is rasa. That's only meant for knowing it. That's called knowledge. The rasa, taking out of that product from the inception of planting, preparing the ground, then planting the seed and growing, and then all that begins. From there it begins to the rasa part of After attaining the rasa, he says that now you have learned how to attain the rasa. So you understood. After rasa, what have you understood? If you take that rasa again, what happened? You again go back to preparing of the ground and planting the seed. Why did I make you understand to prepare the rasa? Is to make you understand none of them are important. Out of all that, what at last, at the end of it, what you can get is the rasa only. After that, nothing. Then it gets evaporated. Then it has to evaporate. Same way, it has to be understood. All this, whatever karma you are doing, is to understand the absolute spirituality in you, that is you, your Atma is the Brahman. That's rasa, you see. Once you understand the Atma is Brahman, your Atma is finished. That is the rasa evaporated. Once it evaporates, where it goes to Brahman only. To make you understand, you have to do all this, then only you can understand. Not that to enjoy the rasa. After taking all the, some people, what happens? They create lot of things they do. Lot of temples they visit, lot of prayers they do, lot of good bhakts are there, lot of sannyasis, rishis, everything is there. What did Vishwamitra do? Our own example is taken. Vishwamitra, being a king who had been undergoing this, starting from the preparation of the ground, planting the seed and growing, that means he was a king. Born as a normal human being, became a king. After becoming a king, he conquered so many worlds of him. He became a very, that is why Vishwamitra, Mitra of the Vishwa. So, even though earlier he was not Vishwamitra, but then afterwards he has become Vishwamitra. He has acquired everything as a king, whatever he needed. He enjoyed all the pleasures, everything that is in the world. Ultimately he found out, this is nothing. This is not what I want. Then he went into spirituality, then he went into tapasya, he went into sannyasa, he went into tapasya, ghora tapasya. Everything after attaining, he became eligible. Almost what happened? He got the rasa. When he became tapasvi, ultimately at a point of time, he got the rasa. Then what he has done? He got attracted to, according to the story, he got attracted to the worldly life of Indra, even though played a trick, they say. So stories tell so many things. But whatever Indra did or not did, immaterial, that's not what we are discussing. Vishwamitra got attracted and attached to the worldly pleasures. What he has done? He drank the rasa. So what happened? He enjoyed the pleasures of that what he has created, no doubt. You can say, oh, I did the cultivation, I reaped it, I am the first beneficiary should be me. Is it not? That you should understand. The trees that you planted, the fruit trees that you have planted, will be enjoyed by somebody else. Should be is the nature's principle. Have you noticed? Grandmother did not live to enjoy the fruit tree that he has planted. She has planted. No. She died. Then children have died. Children have enjoyed. Grandchildren enjoyed, saying that this was planted by my grandmother. The rasa, what has Vishwamitra, what he enjoyed the rasa of what he has done. What happened? Went back. Come on. After knowing everything, you understood what I am trying to give, these examples. So the effect and the dependency. Okay. This is a combination of effect and dependency. Even though through dependency he had the effect, he attained the rasa of the life, he attained the rasa of the living, and he attained the rasa of the life, what he has decided, he could not resist enjoying the results of what he has done. Karma phala, what you have done should be, Bhagavan said, whatever karmas you are doing, you do it, karma phala should be left to me. In simple sentences, what does it mean? It means this only. That means you should know how to renounce. Your job in living is only to do the karma. The effect, cause, after the cause, it should be only the effect. In the process of effect, you can take a support of something in the process. But what happens in the process of effect and support, it should not create multiple desires from that again. When you get a support from somebody, what happened? Your desires will increase. Suppose nobody is there, your desires are less. Somebody is there to help you, what happens? Now I can do one thing. I can ask him, please do it for me. That is, my desires have increased. I have depended on that. So through him, I have created desires. It might happen, it might not happen, that's a different thing. But what happened? I kept on expecting things from the support. One is that the effect, that what you are executing your karma is the effect. Support, effect of the support is that depending upon something else, I expect I create so many desires, and executing certain things are called the supported effect, supported cause. And because of that supported effect and supported cause, your world of desires have multiplied like thousands. Even dependency of God. At a point of time, initially for the purpose of learning renunciation, we pray to the God. Even dependency on the God. Many people blame the God, you see. After doing इतने सालों के पूजा तुम्हारे पास करने के बाद भी, you destroyed my chewing tooth. Who is responsible for it? Hey Bhagavan, क्यों किया ये? Am I that old that you have to take my tooth out? You are the cause of it. Dependency is grown so high, grown so high that he doesn't know the difference between the effect what he is executing and what dependency has to execute. Dependency is meant for something else, that which is not possible by you, but you have to execute a karma. You can depend, you should depend, because that's called the living. We have to depend. But dependency should not, you should be careful while you are creating a dependency. Dependency should not create multiple desires through the effect of dependency. It's a little, to listen to that, it's a little complicated, but it's very simple to understand. Because when I am dependent on something, don't you think that we all think, even smallest thing, if I am dependent on something, my desires multiplies. You see, that is the trick of business. They have, everything is taken from Vedas, I told you. Even fictions, business, banking, everything is taken from Vedas. Based on this principle only, do you know what is the principle today? This has been, from this desire, dependency of desires and effect, from this what has been created today? Online shopping. Yeah, look at it. The principle is this. The principle is effective dependency, effectiveness. What happened when we have a dependency? If you have to go and this one, certain things you don't want, certain things you will delay, certain things practically many things we avoid. This principle has been adopted in the business. What happened? He listed you. He put all every day, not only just you know that it is available in such and such place. He has sent you every day morning, he sent you a message. This is available today for 20 rupees less, but actually 20 rupees more. But he will write it is 20 rupees less. Now he created a desire out of that, you see. Dependency, this particular item is not even, okay, now 20 rupees less. I can use it for next month. See, even though it is not necessary for you, the dependency, because it's nothing just to bring up, he will deliver, finish, that's all, 20 rupees less. You are satisfied, 20 rupees less, even though he has taken 20 rupees more. Dependency has created an effectiveness which created multiple desires. Now that taste of that created us in looking for many things in dependency. So in dependency, we multiplied the effects, multiplied the causes, multiplied the desires out of. Got it? How it is applicable in even today's life. Everywhere when we have more dependency, certain unwanted things, we start getting desires out of it. This how to restrict, you understood? I do it not intentionally, it just goes. Mind and indriyas will take you towards that path automatically. You see. That has to, what he says is that we have to restrict. These are all, now what he says is that these are all the causes of desires. Absolutely right. The cause, the effect, the support. The more the support system, more the desires are created by us. But whereas the support system has been provided, going to the temple, praying to the God, chanting mantras, and learning the Vedanta, learning Vedas and learning things. I am talking only the positive side of it. Even these things are provided to you only for the purpose of identification of the rasa that you will be taking out, but that is not meant for enjoying, that is meant for learning purposes. That's all. Just to do that. Yes. It's only for the taste. Cookery class, what they experiment and show, little bit they will make it, and then for you to, you have seen in the televisions nowadays, no? So after making it, everybody will be given little, and he will eat that little, he will say that fantastic, okay. Up to that also is okay, no problem. But then what happened, the whole thing should be mine, is that taking it. Vishwamitra did that. After taking all the resources, all his tapobalas have been vanished because of that. Same way, what is the example of Vishwamitra? Even though he was such a great disciplined person who undergone severe penance and tapasya for the purpose of identification himself with the Brahman, but at a small risk, a small point, very negligent, very cheap, according to that quality of him, it is very negligent, very cheap attraction he has created, and he fell down into the dirt again. And he had to revive himself, but one thing is that, yes, he revived, but what happened? He lost all that what he has earned. All the tapobalas what he has earned has been lost because of his small desire that has been created in him and got attracted itself. See, this is the talk. I mean, this I am talking about a great saint who had the Indriya Nigraha, Mana Niyantrana, Antakarana Niyantrana, and Atma Sakshatkara he had received. That man could go into the Maya of that. Imagine a normal person. Why we are learning this? That the desires, what is Swamiji saying, telling us to follow? He says that the desires are created because of this. So be careful. See, it is written now that in the electrical switch room and big powerhouses and things like that, where there's danger in that, in the door and the entrance they write, danger, do not enter, no. And in certain medicines, poison, be careful, children should not touch that. No, lot of warnings are given, is it not? These are all warnings. Okay, that means you have to be careful. See, this is there, it is meant for a particular purpose. It has been made. Electricity has been made. It is, high voltage power is going on there. You are not supposed to be roaming around there and touching this and that, because one can die. So he has cautioned you not to. It is there, it's meant for you, but you are not supposed to go there. Same way. He is cautioning us, Swamiji is cautioning us, look, cause, effect, support, and object. Not to enter into it, only to see, to enjoy the results of it for the purpose of execution of your karmas is what the caution that is being given to us. So we have to understand the meaning of that symbol, meaning of that identity has to be there. But then what happens? We get involved because our indriyas and mana is uncontrollable. We get involved in it. So we have to learn that. So that is why we have learned already. tapasya, all those things have to be done. Then only we will be in a position to attain that Parabrahman himself. In order to attain that Parabrahman, why should I attain Parabrahman? Because that is the purpose of life. There's no question of option. Whether you die of sin or whether you die of punya, both you attain the Parabrahma, but what happens because of the sins and karma balas? You again take a rebirth in particular yoni, depending upon the intensity of the karma balas that you have acquired during the process of living. You will choose that yoni to be born again and undergo the process of sufferings, what we call as sufferings, or experiences, let me put it in a simplified way. You will have to experience these experiences through that particular yoni and again come to attain that Brahman. As I told you that after the rasa has been brought up, Vishwamitra had to take it, and then again what happened? So again go back to preparation of the ground and looking for seed and planting and taking care of it and wait for the tree to grow and bring the fruit out of it, then make the rasa out of it. Then understand. Now you have to wait so long. How many janmas? How many janmas? Even though here I have told you in a very simple way, but this cycle takes how many janmas? To come back to that point of rasa, making and rasa seeing and rasa actually having it, how many janmas it takes again? How much you have lost? I am not scaring you. It's very simple. In one janma it is possible. But then if you make a mistake of consuming them, creating this, entangle yourself in the desires in each step. In cause you get entangled, in effect you get entangled, in support you get entangled. Then what to do? In each step you have to take a number of janmas to cross one step. From the cause to the effect, effect to the cause, and from there to the support, and from the support to the object. You will have to take, from each one you have to take a number of janmas to process by process. There is no, you cannot, what do you call it? Bypass some of these impacts. The cause is only meant for effectiveness, and that effectiveness is meant for not to create a cause because of the desires, but you can create dependency, no doubt about it, support, but support is not meant for again creating further desires and attraction and attachment and further effectiveness and cause, but meant for exhausting the support. At a point of time, I don't need support. No more. As we say, children when they grow or when they attain, in other countries also, every country, they attain certain age, they have to be liberated, they have to attain their own self. No support. You have to be your own support. In spirituality is also like that. After growing certain way and certain learnings have been done, Vedanta, Veda and everything has been learned. At a point of time, Guru was there and everything was there. At a point of time, you have to do it yourself. You have to be your own support at one point. And Vivek Chudamani said, yes, even at that point of time, even though children reach even age of 90 also, if their parents are living, still the parents are a support to the child. Whenever the child has got confusion, Baba kya kare? Ma kya kare? 100 years, this fellow is 90, all experiences you have got. But still when the requirement comes, mother and father their advice is most wonderful. So Adi Shankara exactly said in Vivek Chudamani, what he said? He said, even after attaining your own experience, you have reached your top of the rung and said that you have to renounce the Guru also at that point of time. That is meant for you to understand it. You have to travel alone so that you gain the courage to walk alone. But what happens? The Guru doesn't leave you. That's what Vivek Chudamani says. Do you remember? I don't know. We will take it again then. Vivek Chudamani says that even at that point of time, in an invisible form, the Guru follows you on all sides so that you don't slip and fall down. He follows you. He tells you, you go, I am not there with you, but you should go. But he is there with you in invisible form. You won't be able to understand it, or you may not. You may be imagining, okay, maybe right. I will tell you a practical example for that. We all have experienced it. Shall I tell you? Yes. Simple. When did we learn cycling? What happened? Initially, first time. Nowadays there are supportive wheels and front and back and all that, 3 wheels and all that. When we have learned only one cycle was there, 2 wheels. So, I think even today you have to learn like that only. Either your father, your uncle, your mother, somebody will catch you, at the back seat mein aisa pakdega, chalao. Then he slowly turns and tests and all that, falls number of times, then gradually he learns and slowly he'll thoda chhod ke pakdega. Exactly. At a point of time, he tells, don't worry, he will look back whether he is holding or not, because he is scared to go alone. So he says at one day, he is told, no, I am here, don't worry, I am here at the back, I am holding it, but you go. But he is not holding it, but he is going behind him, invisible, without holding it. But he says, I am holding it, no, go. You understood? This is what happens at a point of time with the Guru and the Shishya. He says, I am there, you go now. But he is there, invisibly. That is the support. So, that support, dependency is fine. So, mentally his dependency he has to detach himself from the dependency so that he should be liberated. What he wants, he should not be attached to the Guru also at that point of time. No. He has to be liberated. What's the meaning? Liberation, mukti, moksha. So if your Atma has to do the layer with the Paramatma, you have to leave the Guru also. You do not know. You called him a Guru, but he was with you. He was Paramatma only. So when he told that he leaves you, he says you go. He invisibly is there. Means what? His Atma or his Brahman is with him. And when he merged into him, of course after merging, nobody knows anything what is happening and all that. But before merging, when he is about to merge, that fraction of a second while merging, that still that consciousness is there in one. That consciousness has seen that Guru is that, Guru is that, Parabrahman is that, Atma is that, Jivatma is that, everything is that. Finished within a fraction of a second, you are finished, your memory is gone, you are gone, everything is gone, merging is over, layam is over. What the process? No, same thing. Dependency, you got my dependency is not to create the desires. Dependency is meant for mukti. That's why. So, but what happens? The cause of desire, here Swamiji says, the cause of, I am talking about the ultimate spirituality, the path of spirituality. But in the normal living, what happened? So this has to be understood. If you understand this, the dependency in our life, material life also will be rectified by us. Dependency should be to that limit. That which doesn't create unwanted desires in me because of dependency. Because of dependency. Dependency can be there. Dependency has to be there, because otherwise we cannot live, we cannot survive. In this universe, we cannot survive without dependency. We have to have dependency, but the dependency should be such that while executing the dependency karma, effectiveness, should not create multiple desires which will take me away from the path of the true dependency. Take me away from the true reality of dependency and necessity of dependency for everything. This is what is called the support. What is support? Ashraya alambanam. Ashraya alambanam. Alambana means dependency. Ashraya dependency. Alambana dependency. Alambana. Ashraya alambana. Then what happened? The next is that object. Object is another one which is creating desires. Even though you are okay, perfectly fine. Because you are in contact with an object, suddenly your desires have increased, multiplied. You saw something, you wanted to buy it. Have you not seen it? It's okay, you did not want. You heard it, you wanted to buy it. You touched all the indriyas. That means you felt through the indriyas, you understood through the mind, got attracted through the mind immediately. You wanted to possess that. This is called object. That means the reason of the desire is the object. When that non-objective experiences, that's why great importance has been given in the Vedanta for objective experience and the subjective experience. Even though the object is the experience, we call it as objective experience. Because of the object, desire has been created. But what happened? The desire in the objective experience has been converted as by subjective experience of attachment to desire. Attachment to the object, Attachment to the object. Because of my attachment and attraction to object, I created a desire of possessing it, or throwing it, or destroying it, or whatever it is, growing it, multiplying it, whatever it is. What happened? I created, because of the object, I created number of desires, is what Swamiji says. True, very true. In normal living, what happens? Suppose we don't see certain things, we would not require it at all. Having seen it, no, I think I must have that. No. Actually, we don't need it. We don't have it. It's not necessary. Objects create desires. Why the objects are creating desires again? Like other things. Like cause, like effect, like support. The object is also one, that which is creating the desires. Because of execution of the possessing the object, we created an effectiveness. From that effectiveness, we created the desires. And from the desires, we created a cause. Again, back to square one. Cause, effect, support, object, cause, effect, support. So Swamiji says, are they not the causes for our desire? They are the cause of desire. So in order to completely destroy the desires that is being generated in you, if this can be eliminated, if this can be kept aside, if we do not go through this, what happens? We will be free from mostly, we can say mostly, free from the desires is what Swamiji want to tell us. Is it true? It is very true, you see. So that is called the object. So he says, even though ultimately the fact comes that in Vedanta, after studies of Vedanta, there is no way, there is no object, everything is, nothing is there. But we have not reached that stage. People who are we talking to? We are talking to, Swamiji is talking to those who are thinking that living is the life, is the one who is talking. So, what is living? And what is causing, what are the problems being caused in the living? And how you can eliminate it is what we are talking about. So that in the normal life, in the normal living, these are the reasons why we are not for a great sannyasi, these things are not effective. This is for a normal common man who has not attained the spirituality in the right sense, who has not acquired that knowledge. For them to acquire that, to attain that, this is absolutely necessary. Then only you will be in a position to go to dharana and dhyanam according to Ashtanga Yoga. Dharana has to be firm. Then only dhyanam can be attained. Meditation can be attained. So meditation and mantras. So these are the mantras in order to attain the meditation. Manana trayate iti mantra. That means you must keep on, be conscious always. It is the cause that is creating my desires, it's the effect that is creating, it's the support that is creating, it's the object that is creating desires. So these When I am attaining all this, when I am going, I have to go through all this. There's no way. So when I am going through all this, how can I refrain from getting attracted to or getting involved into the desires created by them? Maybe minor things will still be there, but I should be in a position to gradually eliminate it in total. Is the purpose of this particular shloka is what I understand. I mean, in short, we can multiply it. No, we can keep on talking on that. Many things will keep on coming. It's not that. The more we talk, the more will come. The more descriptions, the more minute points will come. But then those minute points have to be understood by one who listens to it, who understands it. He should contemplate it and create those minutest points, because every individual's experience, every individual's causing the desires from cause, effect and support and object is different. We can generalize only common things, but in each individual they are different. So those different identities are known only by that individual. So when he contemplates, he identifies, look, because of that, for me, this has happened. So I should avoid it. This minute point will come. That minute point is owned by individual. That's not common, you see. So that has to come from you through the process of contemplation. That's why contemplation of this is necessary, so that you know exactly. Now, broadly we covered main subjects. Broadly we covered what are the possibilities of creating these desires. We also explained what does it mean by a cause and effect and support. We even support of God also. That we have examples of Vishwamitra and others. So the objective, object attraction. The last is that attraction to the objects. Major problem today in Kali Yuga. Attraction to the objects. The moment you saw. So people, you see, again, I told you, the business has been made on this principle again. What happened? Earlier it was only going and buying things from shop and come back. It was all inside the shelf. So if you need something, okay, I need a dhoti. So I go to the shop, please show me dhoti. So he will show you dhoti, then you buy it. Now people have learned this Upanishads and Vedas. They learned that objects. So what happened? He said he created a new sensation in the minds of people that you don't have to buy it. But what happened? He said that what is it? Window shopping. Don't buy it. Just see. He knows that, this fellow will fall for it. He made it so attractive and attached objects. Humko wahi chahiye. The same thing tailored by your tailor is not very good, Their advertisement is there, newspaper, television, film stars, they all wear a particular kind of dress, same dress, no difference. In the same dress, and the only thing here is a black dot, here is a red dot. That's the only difference. And these two. Now what happened? Boutique. This boutique only I have to buy. So, Sabyasachi, this Sachi, that Sachi, so many names have come now. From him only. Our tailor, poor man, Ramlal. As I want to Ramlal, he makes the same thing. He makes it better and to suit you, because you are not fit to that ready-made one. He makes it exactly to your body shape and form. He makes it good. No, Ramlal ka second quality, red dot boutique. He will boot me, so boutique is better. You understand what I am saying? Object. I mean, how it is. I'm just telling you the practical things of it. How we get attracted by this. He says, don't buy, just see. That's enough. Window shopping. Advertisements. What is the basis of advertisements? So many ads in the television, in the newspaper and everything, all over the street, everywhere ads. What is the principle of advertisement? Principle of advertisement, creating an attraction and attachment and desire through objective experience. Is it not? Just tell me. See, very simple. No. This is exactly what Swamiji is trying to tell us. Refrain from that. Okay, that's good, no problem. You can appreciate it. It's good, very nice. That is not necessary for me. That is okay. What is necessary for you? You should have that sthita prajna in you. Others you appreciate, no doubt. It's really good. I am not saying they are bad. No. They are good, fine, they are good, but that's not necessary for me. No? Somebody said there is a wristwatch for how many lakhs? Something, no? But I am by somebody writes it, somebody don't wear wristwatch at all. It should serve the purpose of seeing the time. It should be decent. Take a little ornamental, koi baat nahi. Up to that it's okay. But don't have to, spend for that brand name so much. So then what happens? What are you seeing in that? What do you see in that? Some of them you touch करने से light आएगा. Sometimes without touching also light आएगा. So many things. Attractions, objective experience. You see, creating a desire inside your mind through the object. But what is the purpose that you should understand? He says that don't create cause out of it. Don't create desire out of it, and from there a cause out of it. So you have to again go back to the same original position of getting entangled into the cycle of birth and death. This is called punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Keep on being born, being died. It's because of these things, creating the desires. 12th, we'll take it next class. Okay. Now, this we have to, a very important, and I think why basically, even people who have learned so many things, these points are absolutely necessary. Shloka 10 and 11 have covered many things for us to discipline our mind and also to restrict our mind and bring it to consciousness of absolute necessities have to be attended in order to perform our living, to lead us to the life. This information is absolutely there. So this practice, if we make it, we know we have attained that sthita prajna. We will be able to have the indriya nigrahas, also the control of the mind or system of mind. Mana. Om Shanti.